Okay, well, welcome everyone. We'll start our lesson 3. Today lesson will go through LO3. As you know me, my name is Anjum Satha. Please, if you have any question, drop me email anjum@ukversity.co.uk and I'll try my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Today lesson will go through understand how economics environment impact on organizations. Economics environment is really impact on organization. So like we can think about the national minimum wage, we can think about GDP, national income, we can look around the inflation, we can look around. So how economic system collaborated effective distribution of resources like supply and demand of the different economic resources, command free and mixed economy. UK is a mixed economy. We have the watchdog or the regulators, GDP, gross domestic product, the gross national product. We can look around, balance of payment, investment, our behaviors towards saving and investing, and the fiscal and monetary policy. When we say fiscal policy, the policy of the government about income and expenses. When we say monetary policies, policy of the central bank, or in other part of the world, it's called state bank. So about the interest rate, about income, and the reserve rate, with the bank. That's all really we need to be look around. So that's which we need to be look at. Impact of competition policies on chosen organization. We can look around the main ends and impact of the competition policies. We can look around the price between the suppliers and improve the market and contribution efficiency and competitiveness. And we can look around regulatory mechanism. That we can look around the Enterprise Act, Company Act, Competition Act 1998, and we have the Consumer Act 2015, and we can look around the various legislation under, and that's it's a huge impact. When we say economic system, so economic system is is mean by the societies of the government organizations organize and distribute available resources and the service across geographical regions, like when we look south, east, west, north. So all so it can, and transition of economies involve the process is moving centrally planned economy to the mixed economy or free economy. So free economy is the private ownership, resources, price mechanism, freedom of enterprise, consumers, equity, and lease fire, which is free runner and free competition. So that's the market, free market is controlled by the market force. Planned market is ownership of the resources, central planning and authority, and the price mechanism is less important, and central control of ownership and no competition in the market. That's a planned economy. So when we look the mixed economy, which is at the UK, public-private, ownership, public-private partnership is a lot of, the project and the price mechanism economics plan and selective, the government interventions, like recently gas electricity prices hugely increased by the companies and the government intervene, the company, your profit is 400%, you have to get the incentive. So free competition. Okay, so free market is the market enable the mutually beneficial for the exchange between the producer and the consumer, and the system is rely on free market is resource are allocated through the interaction free and self-directed market forces, not because we can look around the demand and supply producer depends on consumer behaviors towards, and market economies work by allowing the direct interactions of the consumer and the producer who pursuing their own, self-interest at the heart of the market, free market. So what to produce? So determine of the consumer preference, how to produce, determine producers seeing the profit for whom to produce, determine the purchasing power of, so which is like per capita income. That's which we can look around. That's also is a crucial in the marketing perspective understanding. When we look the command economy is the section of the economic problem is the allocation of the state resources agency appointed the government, and the method is referred to be centrally planning and economy is exclusively centrally planning and command economy. Is called, so the word government, it direct command the resource to the use particular way, and government can force citizens to pay the taxes and decide, whether the roads or the hospital are built. So the command economy have the certain, the advantages over the free economy, because especially in terms of the coordination of the resources, times such as the following ownership on the natural disaster and free market are fail to time to allocate the resources that's take and the resources comprehensively the other failure. The command economy have the certain advantage over the free market economy, especially in terms of the combination of the resources at the time. We can look around the crises such as the war and the natural disaster, and free markets also fail at the time of the allocated resources efficiencies, and the remedies involve allocation of the resources by the government compensate, those are the failures that can be looked at. Okay, communalism, which is the benefit of the command economy, the free market, capitalistic becoming, the central economics ideas of the German philosophy, which we call Marx, who advocate the state of the ownership and the means, production, namely land, labor, and capital also is predicted eventually collapse, capitalism. The real value of the economy, actually, Marx Karl Marx argued that the could, always track back to the labors and rather than the capital, intense capitalism and pursue, higher profit through the accumulation of the capital, and also always, at the expense of the labor, and who would be increasingly have to produce more and output to satisfy the needs of the capitalists. According to the Marx, when the reality, this set of the laborers would rely that was exploited and the world rise up and overthrow their capitalism masters. And while the idea the Marx seems that the touch of the reality, history Marx economics theory is widely studied and still influenced. So he this about mixed economy. Mixed economy is the UK based economy. The mixed economy, we have the watchdog regulator controlled by the government and private sector, where the resources are allocated primarily by the market forces, side geography, grocery sector of the UK economy. Mixed economy also is our the public sector, where the resources are allocated mainly by the government, such as the defense, police, and in many sectors, resources are allocated by combination of the market planning, such as the healthcare and the public and private provision. So we can look at it determined by the consumer preference and the government, and determined by the party and producer and seeking government, and we can look around purchasing powers of the and the party by the government preference. Thus, can be okay. GDP versus the gross domestic product and gross national product, so is the finished goods and the services during the specific period, finished goods and the services owned by the country's resident over the period of time. So that's the key difference. And GDP is a reflection of the efficient resources, stability, the government and function institution of the nation. And GDP grows, then the GNP denotes, the national advancing in the economics and technology arenas and since involved. So when we look the distribution of the resources over the earth skill set, the people, the regional, imbalance, GNP grows, faster than the GDP. It denote, the possible brain drain. We can look around the generally use, small countries because they are usually lack of resources to generate employment. So that can be, and the public finances really we need to be make sure we look around, like the central government receipt, 51 billion tax receipt were 37.3 billion and 7.5 billion less the 2019 with the value added tax, and the corporation tax and the receipts is considerably, and we look the impact of the coronavirus is GDP and provision of the estimate, indicates 173.7 billion borrowed in the first few months of the current fiscal year in back in 2020 and was, just 3 times 55.8 billion. It borrowed the whole, the financial year. So that is a huge, due to the coronavirus lockdown, slowdown economic activities. So 5 months, the national insurance contribution in the 5 months, between the fell, they're down 13.4% earlier. And same, the government support and individual businesses 34 points. So we need to be look around the tax system purpose, UK tax system, direct, indirect taxes. We can look around, progressive, aggressive. We look the ethical, and we look at the HMRC guidance and the case. The total shows the rates in the each band, is personal now, which we discuss. 12 now is 12,570. The basic rate is 12,000. Full income, if you earn up to 50,000, is approximately 20% tax. If you earn higher than that, it's 40% tax. Additional rate will be 45%. So that's corporation tax. We can look around small profit rate, usage rate. We can look around the main rate, and we apply to the corporation tax, because the corporation tax went down really far. It used to be dropped down to 19%, and then it was 20%. Okay, inflation is the persistent increase in the price index in the UK at the moment, 3.75, which we can look around ONS after the national statistic data, which I mentioned you in the previous week, guys. So it's quite good to look around the ONS after the national statistic and look around, at the moment it's a huge, these are carry on effective. Okay, we have to look around in terms of, and then the UK economy, the pull and push inflation, which is due to the demand and the cost, cost pull and demand pull inflation. That's really we need to balance a payment between the countries. It means import, export, current account, plus the financial account, plus capital account, balancing them. So that's balance of payment. We can look around trade, import, export. 3.1 is the resources allocated through economic system. Is the resources allocated through the economic system. Really, we need to be look around how effectively in the command economy, the government control, measure of the aspect of the economics, resources, industries, and produce, and allocate such resources. We need to be mixed economy, as we mentioned earlier. Is like the UK is a mixed economy, which is the resources being shared and managed. The government can intervene like a public-private sectors. Free market economy, the market forces do economic decisions are taken by the private individual and the firms. So everything is no government intervention. In reality, the government usually, intervene by implementing the laws and public services such as the property rights and all. These are Frederick famous, the free market, Adam Smith famous theory of, which we need to look around the competitive advantage, free market and price mechanism, which really we need to be look around spending force, and the consumer and the businesses recognize that some of the issues, monopoly mean the one company on power, and that could be arise, from the free market, which we what to produce, how to produce, and what to produce. So free market economy advantages, if we can look around, firms are likely to be efficient, because of the provide goods and services demand continues. We can look around. We can look around the structure. We can look around the increase in the market. That's quite crucial, which we need to be. That's carry on. And the disadvantage, free market inequality can be in the market, monopoly can be in the market, our consumption can be, and the public goods are not provided in a free market, such as the national defense, merit goods, and all. So we can look on the planned economy. Is the planned government allocate the scarce resources accordingly. Car market, there is the free market and unstated, unstable, and he saw the profit created in the free market are coming from the exploitation of the laborers, or by paying the workers to cover the value of their work, and he argued that the common, ownership means in the production, what to produce, how to produce, and from to whom to produce. These are the questions need to be in a planned economy, and it must be easier to coordinate the resources. The government can be compensate, inequality can be, and the government fails to market and produce. So we have to look around in these perspectives. Okay, so mixed economy, as we mentioned earlier, is a mix by is the UK economy. The mixed government has the watchdog, regulator, consulting with, and then controlling. So not everything is controlled by government, but the public sector organization is owned by the government, and the private is working partnership, making the laws, what to produce, how to produce, and to for whom to produce. Determine both customer and the government, determined by the producer and the profit organization and the government preference. So we can look around. Okay, 3.2 is we're looking the fiscal and monetary policy. Fiscal policy is the policy of the government about the taxes and income, they increase and decrease, and fiscal policies is carry on reviewing these and government spending at the moment, tax and the deficit, and making the budget accordingly. We have the purpose of the stimulate, the growth of the government inject money into, and the economic growth target is 2%, and the fiscal policies aim to be stabilize the economic growth, reduce the inflation. Also, which is through the it's quite linked, to increase the government spending, cut the taxes, lower the tax will increase the consumer spending and disposable income. So that's which we need to be looking at. That the deflationary and the fiscal policy will involve the decreasing the aggregated demand. We can look around therefore cut the government spending, increase the taxes, higher the taxes will reduce the consumer spending, and this is the knock effect on economy as well. So we can look on the government spending, of course, is a huge, different areas. So we need to be look around the view, the fiscal policies and consumer spending, paychecks, and those will see and stimulate, GDP. So really, we need to be look around in the perspective. Like here, it's a large receive, the more government its sale increase and payback. All, we need to be look around taxes. We need to monitor in economy. Of course, tax rate, at the moment 20, and government increasing the NI contribution that can be ruled modified. Transfer of the payment include like national insurance, will welfare, unemployment check. We can look around the fiscal policy tools. Then we have the monetary policy, the policy of the central bank increase and decrease the interest rate and manage the interest rate, base rate. At the moment, base rate is a 4 point. And we have a MPC, which is Monetary Policy Committee. They carry on committee, they're meeting after every 3 months, they're reviewing the inflation in the country or deflation in the country, and based on the income they can increase or see. So consumer price index, inflation index, they carry on looking, and they need to be balancing quantitative easing, interest rate, any avoid, recession. They want to be economic boost. So how the monetary policy work? Monetary Committee, Bank of England, they carry on at the moment base rate, and then the commercial bank, the lending, it's helped to control the inflation, deflation, unemployment, confident in at the moment. We said earlier inflation is 3.5, which is went down, but the government is expecting it will be further down, then expected to be the lower, cut the interest rate and boost the economic activity. And other quantitative easing during the Bank of England, quantitative easing for the monetary policy involved the creating, the money electronically to buy the assets such as the government bond, lose the monetary policy, 2% target to be economic growth, tied the monetary policies. If the bank feel the economy is growing too quickly and inflation expected to be exceed, then we need to be make sure we control this, and we need to be looking on the main challenges which is carry on facing Bank of England, controlling price inflation, supporting sustainable rebranding economy and financial stability. Okay, which we have the transmission of the mechanism of the monetary policy, change in the interest rate, and impact on the demand, and the effect on the output, and its impact on the real GDP. That we need to. Okay, so when interest rate falls, it will help to reduce the inflation, and ultimately, if lower interest rate boosts the economic activity, credit become expensive, demand will be high, and ultimately, this will carry on. It's help reduce the downturn, recovery of the economy, cut the national interest rate, and commercial banks and redundant, unable to lend, and lower businesses and consumer confidence, selling the real income and the higher stock with the personal debt and some rates have actually risen. So we can look around the interest rate and the distribution for income savers. They don't like it, the interest rate will go income, and the homeowner, the mortgage becomes cheaper if the interest rate come down, and interest rate unsecured debt, that's huge impact. Quantitative easing, when the government interest rate are at zero or close to zero, and there is the limit to be what conventionally use the monetary policy can do, like Bank of England, the rate, quantitative easing. The bank does not print, new note 10, 15, and 20. Usually create, central bank by the government bonds and that, manage the economic activity. And some of the changes that which we happen in the historical quantitative easing project, which is agreement between the bank of the government, increase the lending and small medium sized enterprise, fund lending, and the forward, the guidance. That policies. And then we have 3.3, evaluate the impact of the competition, policies to promote the competition in the countries, set the rule, dynamic, efficiency, bring the economy, price competition, safeguard, and four key, the pillar of the competition, antitrust, and the chartels not be happen really dominant, market positioning, market liberalization. Really, we need to stay at the head of the control. The watchdog regulators merges control, which is the competition commission take over, not creating a monopoly in the country. And the main role of the regulators, enforce. We have the CMA, which is Competition Market Authority. They want to increase, the European Union Competition Commission. We have the body. They can object like they tried, as they try to take over the Sainsbury. There are plenty of deregulation, privatization, transferring tough laws on which we can look around the reductions in the import control. Then we have 3.1, which is the merit criteria and the dislearning outcome. Organization activities operating in two different economic environments. So we have to look around. Ryanair is the Irish lower cost airline. In different economies, we have to look around the booming economy. We have to look around the full employment. We have to look around, what is unemployment in the economy. We have to look around booming, the opposite of the recession. We have to look around the recession, which is, slow the economic activities and cut back, So that's a huge impact in the businesses. Boom and rising productivities. Really, we need to be look around the import, impact on the boom. The number of the employees are increased because they have the business, doing well, and impact on the recessions was owed by the ash cloud, and due to the ash cloud and the thousands of the passengers stuck in the past, Ryanair, and the positive, we need to look around extra staff to deal with it. It's increased. So this is quite linked, the theories, and we can look around another examples which we can add it to merit criteria. We did please is look around the key terminology, Competition Act. We have 1998 fair competition in the country. Always good, it's good for the customer. Can switch around Enterprise Act, legislation, crackdown, anti-competitive behavior. If it's a chattel, we want to be European Commissions on Competition Commission, which we can look around 27 members, and off the trade, the role of Office of Fair Trade role, and ultimately whatever we daily discuss is always, these all the goal is to boost the economic activity, increase the market interest, lower the inflation, and not involved in the monopoly setting. So that's all from today's lesson, which we cover our LO3. In the next lesson, we'll go through LO4. Please, if you have any question, drop me email angum@ukuniversity.co.uk, and I'll try my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for attending, and I hope to speak to you all during our next. Thank you. Bye bye.